Sometimes in a world that feels, well, pretty fragmented, what you really need is a story that just feels like a warm hug. Something that reminds you of the simple beauty in connecting with people. And that's exactly what we're diving into today. We've been really immersing ourselves in this film, Hridayapoorvam. It's a Malayalam film that came out during Onam. And it's quickly, grabbed people's attention, really heartwarming story, great performances.
Yeah, and what's really interesting about it, I think, is how it tackles something potentially heavy, like organ donation. But it doesn't get bogged down in melodrama. Instead, it kind of weaves it into this lighthearted but still deeply moving story about human experience. So our mission today really is to unpack this family drama, to see how, even though it seems simple on the surface, it offers these pretty profound thoughts on second chances, on legacy, and, the surprising ways our lives can connect.
Exactly. It's like a journey into this world crafted by, two giants of Indian cinema. And every moment, every beat of the story just feels really personal, really significant. It's got this blend of gentle humor, real emotion, struggles you can relate to. It resonates. You're going to find out why this isn't just watching a movie. It feels like an invitation to, well, feel something. So let's kick things off with the reunion that had everyone talking. Mohanlal and Sathyan Anthikad. When you hear those names together, what immediately springs to mind? Beyond just, the famous names. For like 4 decades, this duo has made films that really stick with you, right? They've left a huge mark on Malayalam cinema, and Hridayapoorvam isn't just another film for them. It's their 20th collaboration. That's incredible. For a lot of people, it feels like coming home, cinematically speaking.
Oh, absolutely. It's more than just them working together again. It's a cultural thing, isn't it? Audiences, especially in Kerala, they have this certain expectation when these two have a film out, particularly around Onam. It's almost like a guarantee of, well, quality, comfort, familiar values, maybe? You think back to their older films like Vardavelpu or Sparsham. They set such a high standard for telling stories that felt real, authentic. And Hridayapoorvam, it doesn't just reach that standard. It carries that legacy forward beautifully. It has this charm that feels both classic and somehow still fresh.
Right. And at the absolute core of Hridayapoorvam is this story that just pulls you right in. Can you imagine living with someone else's heart, literally beating inside your chest? That's the starting point for the main character, Sandeep, played by Mohanlal. He's this middle-aged guy, runs a cloud kitchen in Kochi. He's a heart transplant survivor. And the donor, Colonel Ravindranath, his identity is this kind of quiet mystery throughout the film, like a gentle presence. How did they even introduce that without making it feel, too medical or heavy?
That's the brilliant part. It's the subtlety. They don't hit you over the head with it. Instead of some big dramatic reveal or lots of medical talk, the film just shows Sandeep living his life, running the cloud kitchen, which itself is about nurturing people, right? So you connect with him as a person first. And the real insight, I think, is how they use this simple gesture, Haritha, the colonel's daughter, inviting him to her engagement in Pune. That's what sets everything in motion. Then he gets injured, has to stay longer with her family, and it's during that unexpected extra time that you see these real moments. Laughter, quiet thoughts, and this really deep bond forming. It feels very organic. It's less about the surgery itself and more about the ripples, the human impact afterwards.
Yeah, I thought the screenplay by Sonu TP and Akhil Satyan's story were just so skillful, handling things like second chances, gratitude, how strangers' lives get tangled up. They did it with such a light touch. They manage grief and love without ever tipping into melodrama. That organ donation idea, it feels so grounded. It's not preachy. It feels like an honest conversation. Every emotion feels earned. And speaking of earning emotions, Mohanlal as Sandeep, wow. For me, that was just a masterclass in like subtle acting. It felt effortless, but also incredibly deep. What was it about his performance, especially after all those big action roles he's done recently, that made it feel like such a return to form here? That's exactly it. It's so striking. You see him going back to those introspective, super relatable characters that made him a legend back in the 80s and 90s. You remember films like Nodo Dikatu or Sanmana Salavarku's Samathanam, characters who felt like someone you actually knew. In Hridayapoorvam, just his eyes convey so much. That quiet thankfulness for a second chance, but also that little bit of playful mischief he has. He balances the humor and the sadness perfectly. He really embodies this guy figuring out this fragile new beginning. It's such a contrast to, say, L2 and Puran, right? It just reminds you of his incredible range, his ability to connect just through quiet moments.
Absolutely. And while Mohanlal is definitely the anchor, the supporting cast just adds so much warmth and realness, makes the whole world feel lived in. Malavika Mohanan as Haritha, for instance. She's not just playing a grieving daughter. She's this young woman looking for connection, trying to figure things out. Her performance is really understated, vulnerable, but strong. And her chemistry with Mohanlal feels so natural, not forced at all. It really works.
Well, definitely. And you absolutely have to talk about Sangeeth Prathap as Jerry, Sandeep's nurse. He is like the film's secret weapon. Seriously. His comic timing is just perfect. He brings this infectious energy, gives the audience these moments to just breathe and smile. The back and forth between him and Sandeep, that's a highlight for sure. It kind of reminds you of those great sidekick pairings from older Sathyan Anthikad films, like Srinivasam with Mohanlal. Jerry's character shows how the film blends humor into serious stuff so well, which makes the emotional parts hit even harder. He just lights up every scene he's in.
And Sangeeth Madhavan, playing Haritha's mother, she gives this really touching performance, a woman holding things together after such a huge loss with this quiet strength. And you have other great actors too, like Siddiq, Lalu Alex, Janart Hanan. They definitely add to the fabric of the film. Though I did feel maybe Siddiq's role as the kind of scheming brother-in-law, I felt a little undercooked, maybe, in the context of the main story. Like there was more potential there, maybe another layer, but his presence still helped ground things in that familiar family world. And so much of that coming home feeling, that blend of humor and heart, it really comes down to Sathyan Anthikad's direction, doesn't it? He just has this amazing ability to make stories feel like home, focusing on ordinary people, weaving humor and emotion into family life so seamlessly. Hridayapoorvam is pure Anthikad in that sense. How would you describe his signature style in this film, and how does he keep it feeling, fresh?
Yeah, his style is right there, clear as day. It's all about that realism, those genuine human moments, like Anamuthdath's cinematography, Jonas. It often uses warmer colors, natural light, especially inside the homes. It gives it this almost intimate, fly-on-the-wall feel, makes it feel very lived in. And Justin Prabhakaran's music, it's never shouting at you. He uses these lovely traditional melodies subtly just to support the emotion, not force it. That really adds to the soulful quality, I think. And a key thing here is how the film tries to bridge generations. Anthikad stays true to himself, but you see these little nods to modern life, maybe influenced by his sons, Anup and Akhil, who are involved, like exploring city life in Pune, handling modern themes gently. It's this really interesting mix of classic Anthikad and contemporary touches. Shows how a master director can evolve.
Okay, so it's powerful, it's heartwarming, but, no film's perfect. I did feel the second half dragged just a tiny bit in places. A few scenes maybe felt a little stretched out. Maybe a couple of the songs, lovely as they were, kind of interrupted the flow a bit for me rather than adding to it. And there was that one scene, remember, where Haritha apologizes for something that wasn't even her fault, that felt a little off for her character. But honestly, these were like minor speed bumps. The overall ride was still so smooth and enjoyable. Did you pick up on any of that?
Yeah, I see what you mean. There are always little moments, maybe a slight detour here or there in the pacing. But what's really compelling, I think, is that even with those minor things, the film's charm, its sincerity, it just shines through so strongly. They don't really take away from the overall warm feeling you get. It really delivers on its promise, doesn't it? A comforting, engaging watch that hits you emotionally without being manipulative. It really speaks to the strength of the main story and those core performances.
So zooming out, what's the big takeaway? What's the lasting feel of Hridayapoorvam? For me, it really was that feel-good experience, perfect for anyone looking for comfort, connection, especially families maybe. It's the kind of movie you watch together, you laugh together, maybe shed a quiet tear or two together. The humor felt so real, like listening to a favorite uncle tell a story. Why do you think it had such a chord with people, especially coming out during Onam?
Well, the way it handles the organ donation theme is just so sensitive and really makes you think. That decision not to show Colonel Ravindranath's face, that was clever. It makes him more universal, doesn't it? A reminder that these anonymous donors live on through their gifts, touching lives in ways they'll never know. It adds this huge layer of depth. It goes beyond just one family's story to this universal message about hope, how we're all connected. That really fits the Onam spirit, that sense of community, new starts. And the reaction was huge, right? Social media was buzzing. People loved the Mohanlal-Sangeeth chemistry, calling it fun, charm, and entertainment. It apparently made, 3.25 crore net on its first day in India, beat its competition. That says a lot about its immediate appeal, that positive word of mouth.
Right. And the fact that it's their 20th film together, and Mohanlal apparently suggested the title himself, and it's even in his handwriting on the posters, that adds such a personal touch, doesn't it? Connects with fans on another level. It makes you think about what cinema can offer beyond just, big explosions.
Exactly. You have to ask, what does it mean for a film to offer simplicity, warmth, when so much out there is about spectacle? Hridayapoorvam matters because it gently nudges us to appreciate the small things. A shared laugh, a kind gesture, finding the courage for a fresh start. It shows the power of storytelling that just connects with your heart without needing all the bells and whistles. It says something profound about the human spirit, I think.
So ultimately, this whole deep dive into Hridayapoorvam, it's shown us that the biggest stories aren't always about huge conflicts. Sometimes they're about the quiet strength of our bonds with each other, the gratitude we find in unexpected places, and just the courage to begin again.
Yeah, it's fascinating how a movie can just make you slow down a bit, actually
Yeah.
feel something without feeling overwhelmed by it, and really connect with the people on screen. It's that feeling you kind of carry with you after the credits roll, right?
Yeah.
That lasting warm glow.
Definitely. So maybe as you go about your day today, you might just pause for a second. Maybe wonder if someone near you could use a warm hug, you know?
Yeah.
Or maybe you're the one ready to offer that connection. That's the kind of magic a film like Hridayapoorvam leaves you with. That reminder to live, to love, and to connect, really one heartbeat at a time.